This is Justin on Thursday, October 20th, 2022, looking at SPX, and I'm zoomed out looking at Wednesday and Thursday because I'm seeing a couple things that repeat. So up here, we had this kind of triple top sort of thing. Like it's making lower highs and lower lows. And at any point of this, it should have held a level, but it broke down. And then it should have held a level and it broke down, and it should have held a level and it broke down. It should have held that level definitely because that's that 100%. That's the fib, the top of the fib level that it was drawn in from the day. Broke that down. Yesterday we rejected right there. Today we bounced off of it here, but then we just came right back down through it. And just like yesterday, we continued on lower. So we put in a little bull candle there, broke down, put in kind of a flat flag about the same price, right around the 36.95, 3700 price, and then continued lower. What's really interesting is we ended up coming right back into the fibs. We got a little bit of some bounces. This was a really amazing high wave candle right there on the fib. Kind of got a small one there yesterday, like the same level, same place. Today's broke down nicely, put in another little flag here, and then continued down. We did end up making a double bottom here and a bigger double bottom like this, and then kind of rolled right into the close. Whereas we were early enough in the day yesterday, we had a couple hours left that we actually had time to bounce up at least a little bit, but then chopped. Today we just ended the day pretty much with a double bottom. So we were earlier in the day with that. I don't know if that's significant. There was just a lot more selling all day than there was yesterday. And what happens when we get this? So we ended up making a higher high than yesterday, and we made a lower low than yesterday, which makes this a engulfing candle. I've not flipped over to the daily. That looks crazy. So let me just take that off. Okay. So kind of engulfing, but I guess not. The where we opened today was lower. So let me put the fib back on this. So I was thinking it was engulfing, but no, yeah, we opened below yesterday's open. So if we had opened somewhere up here, it would have looked more like an engulfing. So we just had a really large upper wick. That's more of an inverted hammer, but definitely 3 days of some selling. Looking left to see when do we have a lot of upper wick like that. Had some there, but we opened similar to the previous day. We'd have to go back further than this to find an upper wick like that. Maybe this day. Selling continued the next day. That was a gap up. This one, that was a nice upper wick there. Selling continued a little bit. That one kind of, I'm looking for here, like this one here. So if we do get a gap up, like this one, if we do get a gap up, it could mean a run because some bears will be trapped, but I don't know if there's a lot of bears ready to come into this right here. Here's a nice one. Nice upper wick, gap down, and kind of indecisive candle there. So anyway, I have no idea what tomorrow's going to look like. But today there were some great opportunities just to repeat what we did yesterday. Similar levels to sell off from up here. The 10 EMA setups were a little more challenging up here. It's even hard to see. Let me get rid of this for a minute. So this bull candle here was the first real bull candle close below the 10, and then that immediately started working. Got triggered in if you set that up, retested up above the 10, and it really just depends on where was your stop. Your stop should have been up here, I think, according to the 10 EMA rules. Click the link in the description and set up a free account, and then look up 10 EMA. It's one of the free editions on there, and it's got some rules in there. And I know that the stop has to be above the 10. But I think it was above the previous pivot. I'm not sure exactly where that would have been. And I'm usually looking at options at this point. So, but we can come back and look at what would have been triggering here at this price. I don't like how low the RSI is on that. Getting in, like on the next candle, this is already kind of oversold. So it's kind of anticipating a bounce. But it's some really nice ones here. So bull candle there, bull candle there. Any of these just continued on lower. And because you're starting from higher with this kind of triple top sort of thing. It had further to go down, further to get to the fibs. You didn't have some great, like you had some bull candles higher up. No, not higher up. What am I trying to say? You had the bull candles here. I was gonna say no, you still had the same thing where they kind of reversed some. I think you had better consolidation higher up is what I mean, because you had some of this that broke down, retested. This was just a straight sell down through here, and it was harder to get in on a rest or on multiple bull candles, triggering you bearish. With multiple, that would have been like way down here. And at this point, it's like, okay, well, we bounced near here, not too much further down. How much further down could this really go is the question you'd be asking. Did I miss it? Am I chasing? And when you're asking those questions, usually you are. In this case, it did continue down quite a bit more. So let me put this back on. What I was noticing here, let me step back and look at the open here. Let's just look at today because we went through. Oops, give it a sec. We had some really nice hammers here at the open. So we opened up right above the fib here, right below the 10. The open was just choppy, but it made two inverted hammers, two right side up hammers, and then a third bullish hammer. And this was just a gorgeous bounce off that fib. And then that just ran. Here's your first bull candle. Bear candle closing above the 10. This was still a great place to look to buy just because we bounced kind of off that level, and it's a level on here. So I'm going to look to trade it. So that would have been setting up a trade down here. You would have been doing it like a blind buy to have an entry set up at $1. Could have worked. Maybe it didn't fill. But even with these hammers here, you had that move up and then you came back down. That would have been a great place to get in on a retest of that hammer. Even getting in, like buying at 2, stop at 1, or maybe a little bit lower. So your stop's below this candle. So maybe 150 would be a good setup. Oh, it wouldn't have filled there. No, I guess 150 wouldn't have worked. Maybe above these. So like 175. Top of this candle by 0.75 below the candle. And that would have been a nice move. Probably up to either up to this 100% mark or the 200% mark. Let's say 200%. It says 200%. Or maybe up in here because we got up to the top of this yesterday. So that would have been this candle, but not obviously the top of that. Probably somewhere around 7 is my guess. Get a fill around 7, or because this candle didn't quite get there, maybe 8. So it would have been, let's just for rough numbers, let's say 2 by 1. So to 8, that would have been 6R. And then you had some signals like this. This is the bull candle closing below the 10. So a few more of those on the option, signaling, okay, maybe it's going to go down. So you flip over to the puts and you see, oh, we're just going sideways through here. I could practically buy it almost $1, maybe $1.50, maybe 2. And once it gets going bearish, so like here's this candle right here. We can look at the one at 1021. We can look at this one at 1103. So at 1021, we were still way back over here, right there. And then at 1103, it was right here. No, this one right here. So this was a great one because it actually triggered in on this candle and then a pullback right into that same area. So we've been buying at 3 and a stop at 2. That's a great setup. And then it on the option, it kind of chopped it slowly, but I mean, this option flew later in the day. Really moved. Target would have been some of these levels in here. Probably getting it at 3. Target would have been 10, or it would have been 13. So a 10-hour target on this, and would have, when it got close here to nearly 12, I would have bumped that out a little bit, not double like I like to do, but probably just move it out from 13 to, if you're able to watch it, go from 13 to like 18. But if you're not able to watch it, because you're adding, then that's another 5R. So it's half of what your 10-hour target is already. But you're gonna have to hold through some pain. You got to hold through that pulling back through here, and then you can tighten up your stop as it's moving. This would have been a little bit rough to hold through. That it got, you're up still, but it's a little less than up 2R. So some really good opportunities, bullish and bearish today, most days, but this had some extra moves where things were just selling off during the day. And then the chop into the close didn't help anything, but there were some opportunities to buy back down here. So you just got to look at a different option that's within the range of where it could get to with this much time left in the day, rather than the amount of time we had left yesterday. So probably 36.75, maybe 37. Let's go look at the 3700 call. What is that? And again, these aren't 10 EMA setups. These are just what can I get into? No, this was just flat. So that's 3700 is too far away. 36.75. Bounce. A little bit of bouncing here. This is what we got to look at. So let me get into this here. Okay, so it came down. I like it looking for absolute zero, so this wouldn't have worked as an absolute zero. I want it to get down to $1. So I would have looked a little further out, maybe 36.80, maybe 85. Let's see what this does. Yeah, so that came down to $1 here. Then you're losing some on this one if you just do a blind buy. If you wait for the retest, maybe you get it over here and you get a better flip on $1, but then that more than doubles. So that's just a really nice quick scalp as it goes, because it's so late in the day. You can't expect much out of a move like that. So that is a way to play things, but you're going with some options that don't have as much volume, like no volume here. Obviously, it's so much more expensive, but as it's moving closer to the strike later of the day, the volume comes in. But you just got to be watching for how much liquidity you got in those options too. So anyway, I have no idea what we're going to do tomorrow. We've been trading back down to these fibs. If we can somehow continue moving down, we'll probably come back into this fib range. If somehow we get a gap up and we can trap some of this people in this range, we could go. Or if we end up just gapping kind of inside here and near some of these fibs again, we could just chop around a little bit and then see if we can somehow get some 10 EMA setups to see if we can get some direction. But you're going to have to, these are the uncomfortable ones where it starts to run and then it puts in that rest and it's like, okay, I'm getting in. And if it works, great. But you want to be closer to either end of these kind of bigger channel ranges. So right here, we're kind of doing this. So if we can get back up into this, that's a good place to look to come back down. It's been working. So we were tighter on that, yesterday where we rolled back down and then it started to bounce, and that was a great place to buy. But I mean, you would have had to buy here to get to the top of it and then came back down. So, this is what's going on. We're channeling at a slight downtrend. And so look for getting in bearish up here, look to get in bullish down here, assuming we kind of continue in those kind of, and then compress this because that can move back into tomorrow. So if tomorrow looks like what we did today, it's going to move quickly up to something, maybe even push higher. And then if it does this triple thing and then comes back down sharply, and then we've got monthly expiration tomorrow as well. So that will be interesting. We'll see. We'll probably have a little more volume for the monthly. I would expect there to be a little bit more move too. But the other thing I drew in here the other day was this, and it didn't quite play out that way because I would have expected this kind of thing with how we continued there. And instead, we got kind of a false breakdown, a false breakout, and then we're rolled over. So this trapped the bears, this trapped the bulls. Are we trapping bears again? Possibly. If we can do this, yeah, we'll have trapped some more bears, and then we'll come back up here and trap some bulls. All right, that's what I got. This is Justin. Hope this helps. Thanks.